Good morning. If you will, take your cell phones, turn them to silent, so there won't be any interruptions. Ms. Cheryl, I haven't asked you, but would you pray for us, please? All right, and followed by our prayer, we'll do the pledge. So if you'll stand, please.
Dear Lord, thank you for this wonderful, beautiful day that you've given us. Dear Lord, help us to use it for your good. Dear Lord, be with us during this meeting and make the decisions that are best for the taxpayers. Thank you for those who are in service in uniform here and abroad. God, you've done so many things for us, and we don't always remember to thank you. So we lift up our praise to you today and our thanks. God, we love you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Cheryl, thank you. All right, that will take us to number 4 on the agenda, approval of agenda even date.
So moved.
Second. Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Number 5, approval of minutes dated May 1, 2023 and May 11, 2023 work session.
So moved.
Second. Motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Number 6, going to toss it to Josh Todd for a proclamation of Miss Polly Glover Heidelberg. Josh, I see Miss Ruth.
Miss Ruth, you ready? All right, Mr. Wales, you mind if I borrow your reading glasses?
Here you go.
When
They might need to be wiped off a little bit.
I got, they may be winners, but we'll make it work. We'll make it work. Oh, I'm sorry, my bad.
So you gonna take it back? Give my
Miss
glasses.
Ruth, I wanted to do this proclamation until I looked at it. It's a lot of words, it's a lot of small words on there, and 43 hasn't been that good to me, Miss Ruth. Miss Ruth, I promise you, I will let you read it if you want to read it. Because these words will get smaller as I get up here. You want to read it? If you don't, well, bless your heart, Miss Ruth. Bless your heart.
Well, you just, Josh, you stand there, and when she reads it, you can put it in.
Oh, you're afraid we'll take a picture of those glasses?
Yeah, I didn't want to like take a picture of you. Thank you, Miss Ruth.
You're welcome.
We wouldn't do that. We wouldn't do that.
Yes, you would.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay. Actually, this is a very emotional day for me because in 2014, I made efforts to have Holly Glover Heidelberg read and in Lauderdale County and in Meridian and beyond. And we weren't too successful at doing that because there were so many people who didn't know who she was, and they were wondering, why are we doing this? Well, actually, this is sort of like a precursor to getting a street name for Miss Polly and getting information out here in the community about Miss Polly so that people can know what it is we're talking about. Everybody benefited. It wasn't just African Americans who benefited when that 1964 Civil Rights Bill was passed, and you could no longer discriminate against people because of their race, because of their gender. And of course, we know, like in today's world, if you go into a university classroom, the group that has the most people who are working on a PhD are white women. So it wasn't just African Americans who benefited from this. And of course, the men also benefited because they marry women, they have daughters, and when they're able to get quality education, they're able to lift the standard, the living standard of your family. So when we talk about these things, we have to remember how many people benefited. Everybody, basically, all groups benefited from it. And that's what you have to sort of point out to people time to time. All right, so what I'm going to do here, please, I tried, because of the read-in, I tried to get as much information in this proclamation as possible about Miss Polly's history, so that even if you can't get a copy of the newspaper or the New York Times Magazine that she was featured in, and various other materials that she was featured in, if you read the proclamation, you can get enough information about her and who she did and who she was. All right, whereas, so this is the second Miss Polly Glover Heidelberg read aloud in Lauderdale County, Mississippi and beyond, beginning Monday, May 15th, 2023, and ending Monday, May 22nd, 2023. Whereas Miss Polly Glover Heidelberg, affectionately known as Miss Polly, our mother, was born on May 6, 1913 in Lauderdale County, Mississippi, and died November 6, 1995 in Meridian, Mississippi. Actually, her birthday was 2 Saturdays ago on the King's coronation day. She would have been 110 years old. Whereas Miss Polly was a torchbearer, a mover and shaker, phenomenal woman, and always an invaluable resource who knocked down barriers so that others could walk through with less pain and effort, demonstrating character, courage, and commitment. Whereas Miss Polly was God's messenger, a civil rights, nonviolent role model who was instrumental in creating change and breaking down the walls of apartheid and immoral anti-Christian practice, separate and unequal educational facilities, backdoor public transportation usage, and restaurant usage, and barred from hotel facilities. And whereas Ms. Polly experienced many acts of retribution for her participation in nonviolent protest actions, for picketing the Bill's Dollar Store and Winn-Dixie, respectively, to name a few, claiming these recognitions for her expertise that she deserved less recognition. The men actually were getting credit for it. She was the person who had the ideas. Wanting to participate because she wanted to participate because she cared and was always willing to go to battle for the voiceless and those people who thought they had too much to lose: their jobs, their lives, their homes, and expulsion from schools. And whereas Freedom Summer 1964, thousands of mostly African-American college students and many Caucasian students from the North and East with the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC, and Congress of Racial Equality Corps entered Mississippi. Their goal was to establish freedom schools, massive voter and political education drives, advocate racial understanding, harmony, and human dignity, a fair share of housing, jobs, and educational opportunities. James Chaney of Meridian, Mississippi, Michael and Rita Swarner, and Andrew Goodman of New York, to name a few. Ms. Polly was the light of their life, their paths, a surrogate mother, and one of the main driving forces in Lauderdale County. She was always operating under the banner of Jesus Christ. And whereas Ms. Polly Glover Heidelberg has been recognized and honored in a number of ways for her participation in voter registration and contributions to the local civil rights movement, in 1988, she served on the panel, Trailblazers and Torchbearers, Women in the Civil Rights Movement, 1941 to 1969 in Atlanta, Georgia. Mrs. Heidelberg discussed goals, purposes, and beliefs which motivated her action, her activism, as well as her assessment of the period in bringing about major societal changes. Our panelists, other panelists were Rosa Parks and Mamie Teal, mother of Emmett Till. And whereas in 1989, Mrs. Heidelberg was the recipient of the Civil Rights and Social Justice Award, June 2016, posthumously, by the Civil Rights Conference. And then she received the Fannie Lou Hamer Award by the State Conference of the NAACP. She has also received many other awards in recognition. Whereas the Polly Glover Heidelberg Scholarship Award is presented by the Meridian chapter of the NAACP to high school graduating seniors annually who are themed, have a themed essay contest winners. Past recipients are Will Nathan, Jackson State University, Melvin Jenkins Jr., Mississippi State University, and Tiffany Wade, Xavier University. These were some of the earlier recipients. Whereas Miss Polly whereas Michael and Rita Swarna spearheaded Miss Polly's journey into learning to read. And of course, she did this at their school that they had established during the daily dinners that she had with them for the food she prepared. So it's not quite true that St. Joseph's taught Miss Polly to read. She went to another level when she went to St. Joseph to continue her learning to read. But in terms of who spearheaded the reading and really taught her the basic reading skills, those two people were Michael and Rita Swarna. Whereas Miss Polly had always exhibited, a natural intelligence, brilliance and keen intelligence, contributing ideas and solutions to problems, supporting the cultural arts, and exploring new avenues and unique ways of learning, forever present in promoting the Mahogany Theater and other cultural events. Whereas Michael and Rita Swarna, Miss Polly was featured on the cover of the prestigious New York Times Magazine, July 23rd, 1989. She put Meridian, Mississippi on the world map, by the way, with that article. The name of it is the 64 Civil Rights Murders. The struggle continues, and of course you can pull that up on Google, that article. And then the award, there was a national award-winning article by Ida Brown celebrating women in history. That was in the Meridian Star, February 16, 1992. You can pull that also up on Google. Civil rights worker Heidelberg did, and then Miss Polly paid her dues in the fight for civil rights. That was also written by Ida Brown. Whereas Miss Polly, I'll be finished in just a second. Whereas Miss Polly Glover Heidelberg Read Aloud is a precursor to naming a street in her honor, Lauderdale County and beyond citizens and residents are encouraged to read, discuss, and celebrate Miss Polly's acts of bravery. Whereas Miss Polly was committed to making life better for other people who needed better jobs, a better education, and a better life. They wanted better jobs. I did not need a job, and my children were in a private school, so I did what I did because I wanted to and because I cared. And please remember, she was in her 50s at that time. Whereas Miss Polly was committed to making life better for, I just read that. Now, therefore, the Lauderdale County Board of Supervisors do hereby proclaim Monday, May 15th, 2023 through Wednesday, May 31st, 2023, as Miss Polly Glover Read Aloud read-ins in Lauderdale County, Mississippi, and beyond. So ordered, this 15th day of May, 2023. Thank you.
I put that to a form of a motion.
Okay.
Second.
Thank you.
All right, I have a motion and a second.
Right.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, and Ms. Jones, I've already signed that, so motion passes.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right.
Thank you for doing my job for me, Ms. Rooney. I couldn't see it.
All right, and at this time, we're going to recognize Abigail Carter. So Abigail, if you'll come up, does anybody want to come with me? So if you guys remember at our last meeting, we recognized Abigail's dad, Jonas, for his efforts at keeping Mississippi beautiful here in our county. And so this week, what Abigail has done is applied for our MAS scholarship. And, you know, the board of supervisors, we can't apply for that because we are supervisors, but our employees throughout the county have that opportunity. And it's probably been 2 or 3 years, but I remember somebody else's family member received that. You guys remember?
It's been about 3 or 4 years
Yeah.
ago now.
So,
It's been a while.
so we're honored to get to do this, Abigail. So Abigail is, I got to cheat, is the daughter of Jonas and Shelley Carter. She graduated from West Lauderdale High School in 2021, a member of Pursuit Church in Nellyburg, Mississippi. And Abigail is studying kinesiology at Mississippi College. And it says here that you're deciding whether you want to go into physical therapy or sports medicine. And Abigail, it says you're a counselor at Camp what? Kanakuk in Branson, Missouri. So, we're proud and we're glad to present this to you. It's a check for $500, and I'm going to give that to you real quick. All right, and that's from our MAS, Mississippi Association of Supervisors, and this is the certificate presented to Abigail R. Carter, 2023 recipient of the Mississippi County MAS County Employee Scholarship awarded by the Mississippi Association of Supervisors, and the Lauderdale County Board of Supervisors awarded this first day of May, or just a couple weeks late, of 2023, and that's signed by Derek Charette, the MAS Executive Director, and myself, the Board President. So, what do you think, gentlemen? Do we need to put this in our minutes, or just read it into the minutes? What do you guys say? All right, I present this in the form of a motion, gentlemen.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Miss Abigail, there you go. You want to say anything?
Yes, sir. I would like to thank the Mississippi Association of Supervisors for this honor. I would like to thank you all for what you do for the community day in and day out.
Very well said.
Now, I want to say Abigail submitted an essay to MAS, and she wrote about Jonas and his work that he's doing. And some of it got me to laugh a little bit. She talked about when he received some grants or recognition that he squealed like, who, Abigail? Yeah. Good deal. All right. All right, gentlemen. So, let's see what we got here. It's 9:19.
Congratulations, Ms. Abigail. Proud of you.
So Abigail, we got a couple minutes. We're coming up on a hearing at 9:30. Are you wanting to get into a PA program after this, or what's the path look like? Good deal. Good
That's
answer.
Good.
All right. Got a good PA program right downtown here, right? Okay. All right. By the way, in her packet, I'm not going to share all of your information, but her grades from Mississippi College were in there, and they're very impressive. So, all right. Okay. We're going to skip number 8 for right now. We'll move to next agenda, number 9, Sheriff Billy Saw.
Good morning, gentlemen. I don't think my agenda mentions the 934 trial. First item on my agenda, the courts have awarded us a vehicle that was seized by the drug task force, and like to add this vehicle to our inventory.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Item number 2 is a training opportunity. Joshua May will be attending the field training officer supervisor course in Columbus, May the 22nd and the 26th. Registration is $200. The cost of this training will be paid for out of our budget.
So moved. Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Item number 3 is also a training opportunity. Leslie Hagewood and Fabian Gillis will be attending the SFST in Starkville, May the 23rd and the 25th. Lodging will be $230,320. Per diem is requesting an amount of $276. The cost of this training will be coming out of our budget.
So moved.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Gentlemen, that's all I have on my agenda unless the board has any questions or concerns.
Gentlemen? Okay.
Chris, did you share with them? Did you share with them what happened? Simon?
No, sir, I thought that you would probably be good at that.
Y'all may have saw it on Facebook. I want to thank you guys once again for the honor you have bestowed me by putting my name on the building. Can't believe this happened. You guys did this several months ago. We just kind of been waiting for the folks to show up to put the sign up. Well, they did this past week. Started by 8 o'clock, started putting the sign up. A little over 40 years ago, a very prominent businessman here in Meridian told me one day, he says, Billy, if you're half as good as your dad as a cop, you'll be pretty good. Irony of them putting that sign up that day last week was the 26th anniversary of my father passing away. They could put the sign up anytime 2 months prior or 10 months later. That day was the day they put that sign up. And I think it was my dad saying, "You made it." Thank you guys.
That's what I was just gonna take congratulations, cause I did see on Facebook where they put the sign
Yeah.
up.
Thank you guys. Thank the community for supporting us. And you guys, y'all have brought me to tears this last Thursday because of that.
Deserved.
Thank you guys.
Well deserved.
Sheriff, if I can, I just want to say, when that discussion started, Mr. Newell started the conversation upstairs about we need to do something, how about the street? Josh came along and said, well, why not the building? And it was a no-brainer. So that's how that came about.
Again, thank you guys, and I'm truly humbled. Thank y'all very much.
Well deserved. And it's a new building, it's gonna last a long time. So your name will be on there for a long time, Sheriff.
All right. Russ, did you have anything? Wow, okay. All right.
He's taking care of
So
business.
he's on your
He's on
agenda.
my agenda.
Okay, all right, so how
Kristen-
we doing?
did
It's
Kristen mess up
9:23. We
again?
got 7 minutes. So Miss Carolyn Newell, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Thought you may have messed up,
Okay.
and didn't put him up.
Okay. My first item I would like to submit for inclusion in the minutes, the public notice is posted on the bulletin board on the first floor of the Raymond P. Davis County Annex Building, advising of this date and time of this meeting pursuant to section 254113 Mississippi Code of 1972. My next item, I need board approval for the second claims docket for the month of May and authorize the clerk to issue the warrants.
So moved.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
My next item, I need to include in the minutes certification from Sheriff Solly that 17,955 meals were served in the Lauderdale County Detention Facility during the month of April. And authorize the board president to sign the necessary paperwork, please.
So moved.
Second?
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
My next item is dealing with homestead chargebacks. We received 232 homestead chargebacks from the Department of Revenue. A chargeback is when the applicant is not in compliance with the homestead law. We sent out letters, gave the applicants over 30 days to respond, and now I need board approval to finalize these chargebacks with the state. We have 12 objections and 220 acceptance.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
And my next item, I have 4 oath of offices I need board approval.
So moved.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Mr. President, that concludes my agenda.
All right. So we got 5 minutes until our hearing. Gentlemen, if you'll allow me to put this in, we usually do a couple of comments at the end, but I want to take this opportunity while most people are still here. Rocky Rockette, our animal control officer, called me this morning. They have received a $3,500 grant from the Mississippi Board of Animal Control, and he just wanted me to discuss how the grant was received. It's from people buying I care about animals' car tags. So if you're interested in that, you can do that. I know we do a lot of specialty car tags, but what Rocky wants to do with this money is take the $3,500 and put it towards animals being spayed and neutered. Tyson Pompillia at Collinsville Veterinarian Clinic works really well with Rocky at price packaging and things like that to help the county out. Rocky wanted me to make sure I mentioned Tyson and the Collinsville Clinic, but so $3,500 will be going towards half the cost of animals being spayed and neutered. Now, how long that will last, I have no idea, but that grant money again comes through people buying those car tags. So I just wanted to share that with you. And I think Rocky would also be okay if I mentioned that his free volunteer that helped him write that grant was Gwen, his wife, who is very smart. So I think like a lot of us, we have good help behind us, free volunteers and our spouses. Especially for men. So, all right. How much time we got?
3 minutes.
All right. What can we do in 3 minutes? You want to get started?
I probably can.
Let's try.
Let's see.
Y'all are not slowing me down. All right, so my first one I need to include in the minutes of June 15, 2023 work session is canceled. Number 2, I need approval for the following change orders for the courthouse complex, Larry J. Summerall, $508,707, Woodall Electric, $120,9518, J&J Contractor, $50,855.30, Davidson Hauling, $269,345.52.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion?
Positive change order, not a negative change. Just make sure everybody knows that.
Still in the budget.
Yes.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Next, I need approval to accept the lowest and best bid of Southern Business Supply in the amount of $188,158.61 for the courtroom furniture as the only bid received.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Let it be noted that Mr. Norwood abstained.
Next, I need approval for the following travel. Tristan Payne to attend the officer-involved shooting and critical incident class, June 5th through the 6th, and Meridian. Travel will include the registration. Chuck Roberts to attend the MCA 2023 Convention and Training Seminar, June the 12th through the 15th. Travel includes registration, hotel, and per diem.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Next, I need to ratify and approve Chuck Roberts' travel to the Mississippi Constable Association Board Meeting, October 28th to January 27th. Travel includes mileage.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Next, I need approval to accept the lowest quote, Danny Kane, in the amount of $15,550 to demolish and rebuild awning for a client drop-off at the mid building. You see the 2 quotes.
So moved.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Next, I need approval to transition all Mount Barton rentals and resources to MCCSA in an effort to better serve the citizens of Lauderdale County. All previously booked events will be transferred to MCCSA. So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let it be noted that Mr. Norwood abstained. Motion passes.
Next, I need approval to advance $441,000 from the general fund to NAS Wildlife Fence Grant Fund. Advance will be paid when grant funds are received.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Next, I need approval to modify the previously approved travels for Steve Martin to attend the STS Domestic Showcase and Pre-Conference Marketing Seminar, April 15th through the 20th, 2023 in Huntsville. Travel includes 5 days stay, hotel, hotel stay, 6 days per diem, and travel in a personal vehicle.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Finally, I need approval to accept D.D. McGowan's resignation effective June 2nd, 2026.
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
That concludes my duty.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, that will take us back to number 8, a public hearing that starts at 9:30, and I'll turn that over to Mr. Thacker.
All right. Okay, folks, an extra 1 minute to get here. All right, so, Mr. President, at this point in time, I ask you to consider a motion to open the public hearing on the potential revocation of the religious tax exemption of the New Morning Star Baptist Church.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? All right, Mr. Thacker.
All right, so public hearing's open. To give you a recap of where we've been, back on April 3, 2023, the board received evidence and considered evidence on the subject of the exemption from ad valorem taxes, which was previously approved by the board in favor of the New Morning Star Baptist Church. That's relative to PPIN 19674. At that time, we presented to you photographic evidence from August of 2013, which showed the church and the church grounds in reasonably good condition and being in apparent use for church purposes. However, we also submitted current photographic evidence from the tax assessor's office that confirmed that the church building is now in a very dilapidated condition. It's not being used. The church grounds are being used to store automobiles in various states of disrepair. The automobiles appear to be placed there by a nearby automobile repair business. Based on that evidence, the board preliminarily found that the subject property is no longer being used for church purposes, as contemplated by the relevant Mississippi statutes, thus causing the exemption to be subject to potential revocation. But prior to issuing your final decision on the subject, the board wanted to afford the church an opportunity to be heard on the subject. Therefore, the board set this public hearing, directed that notice be provided in a number of ways. That's been accomplished. That included notice mailed to the trustees of the church, to the church property itself. Now, to determine the church trustees, we researched the land records also as the Secretary of State's records to try to determine who the current trustees were. So, what I've got for you is an evidentiary packet, which we'll put into the minutes. The very first thing is that April 3, 2023 order scheduled its public hearing. There's an April 17, 2023 letter to the New Morning Star Baptist Church and its record trustees. We did have one gentleman that returned the letter and said he has nothing to do with the church. I'll mention that in more detail in a moment. The notice of public hearing that was posted on April 17, 2023 courthouse, also the courthouse annex. 3 photographs of the notice of public hearing as posted on the subject church property at its record address of 502 Church Street, Missouri, Mississippi 39301. The Postal Service delivery confirmation documentation, all the letters were sent with delivery confirmation. Delivery confirmation on the church property itself was returned as there being no such number at 502 Church Street. That was not a surprise. There's no mailbox there, so there's really nothing to deliver to. The letter to record trustee George Mosley was delivered April 22nd, 2023. The letter to Cleveland Burke's record trustee was delivered April 22nd, 2023. And the letter to Jack O. Brown, record trustee, was delivered April 19, 2023. Now on April 24, 2023, so we received a letter from dated April 24, 2023 from Mr. Jack O. Brown, and Mr. Brown indicated he had nothing to do with the church. Also, the last document is a copy of an envelope which included the letter which was sent to the church itself at 502 Church Avenue. It was returned because there was no such number. So we have all that. The other items is that I went by the church property this morning, took some current photographs. These are current as of today. There are 6 pages. One of the things that you'll notice is that the sign that we posted on the property of the notice of public hearing was removed by someone. The church door was open this time, so I stepped to the door and just took some photographs inside the church building so you can see those as well. And I'll pass those and let you take a look at those. That's fine. You can see when looking at the church photographs, the one, its property is still extremely grown up. Its church building it's very dilapidated. It's still essentially surrounded by lack of better expression, junk vehicles. The interior of the church, there's a hole in the floor right at the front door. The ceiling's fallen in. You know, it's pretty obvious that it's not been used in quite some time. Yeah. So to be clear, when I took the photographs this morning, the door of the church was open. I did not go inside of the church. I just stood at the door and took the photographs. But I didn't open the door to stand there. I'm going to have Mr. Lafferty put a copy of that on the podium for if anyone wants to come over and could have an opportunity to see those. Now, I will say the letter that went out to the record trustees and was mailed to the church had a complete copy of the order, and that order had all those previous photographs that I mentioned, the photographs from 2013 as well as the photographs from that the tax assessor's office took that were current. So it's a complete picture of the board's action on April 3, the evidence that you considered at that time. So lastly, there was just as a reminder, your order of April 3 of 2020. You ordered that in the absence of probative evidence that the subject property is still being used for church purposes as required by law, then the board shall finally revoke the subject tax exemption relative to parcel number PPIN 19674 in the city code, section 27311-D. Sorry, parentheses D. At this point in time, is there any person who would like to come forward and address the board on the subject of whether the subject property is still being used for church purposes? If you will, you come to the podium, state your name and your address.
My name is George Mosley, and my address is 239.
Good morning. Give me the address. So we usually want to because so we're trying to get some understanding. So you're saying that we will no longer have tax exemption, so at the beginning of when, today?
Well, it's up to the board's decision, but by law, that tax exemption for church property can only continue, and so it's the property tax exemption, it's the alcohol tax exemption, can only continue for so long as a church is being used for church purposes. And so that's the issue is this property being used for church purposes? The evidence that the board has considered up to this point in time, it seems pretty obvious that it's not. But the board wanted to give the trustees and the church an opportunity to come in and address that.
One of our problems is we didn't authorize anybody to put those cars on. So we first thing we have to do is address who is, but for it to be used for church meetings as of right now, so as of 2023, no more tax exemption.
That would be to the board to decide, yes, sir. But you know, unless there is some evidence still being used for church purposes, then that would be the recommendation to the board to revoke that tax exemption. Now, if the trustees put the property back into use as a church, then you could then apply to the church, to the board for an ad valorem tax exemption. That's not to say that there would never be, could be a tax exemption on the property again, but it has to be used for church purposes.
Again, when does it start? Will we go in October? Is it right now?
The recommendation of the board will be to revoke it effective January 1, 2023. So it's not like there's gonna go back for some back taxes. So it'll be effective this year. And the taxes for this year will be due and payable January 1 of next year.
So again, it's starting now. So
We'll start 2023, yes, sir.
these only for us to look at.
You can look at those. Actually, that's an extra copy. You can have that.
Oh.
That's what-
Thank you, sir. So they're gonna send us in the mail?
We'll send a copy to you of the final order, yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Burks, Mr. Mosley, thank you.
Is there anyone else like to come forward and address the board regarding the potential revocation of the religious ad valorem tax exemption for New Morning Star Baptist Church? Ask one more time. Anyone else like to come forward and address the board on this subject? Seeing no movement, Mr. President, subject to any comments or by members of the board, I recommend you entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second to close the hearing. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
All right. So then now move on to the legal agenda. All right, so to the road manager's agenda. He's not paying attention to it. All right, first, so several items we talked about at the work session on Thursday pertain to the bridge work that's ongoing at planned for Lizea Road and also Dale Drive. Item 1, ask consider motion to authorize and approve and order authorizing acceptance of a perpetual right-of-way easement for public road. That's from Deborah P. Logman and her husband Edward C. Logman, it's to Lauderdale County, and that's as reported in book 3226 at page 662, relative to ARPA, Lizea Road, and authorize the board president to execute the same.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Item 2, ask consider motion to authorize and approve an order authorizing acceptance of a perpetual right-of-way easement for public road from Melanie Diane Davidson and John B. Tate Jr. as to ERBR Dale Drive, and authorize the board president to execute the same.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Item 3, ask consider motion to authorize and approve an order authorizing acceptance of perpetual right-of-way easement for public road from Bonita Development LLC to Lauderdale County as reported in book 3228 at page 36 relative to ERBR Dale Drive, authorize the board president to execute the same.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Item 4 pertains to Collinsville Martin Road. Ask to consider motion to authorize and approve an order authorizing acceptance of a perpetual right-of-way easement for public road from Jack Mayotte to Lauderdale County as reported in book 3228, page 55, relative to SAP 3887, Collinsville Martin Road, and authorize the board president to execute the same.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion?
I'd just like to thank the mayor for finally signing it after 15 years. Thank you.
Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Item 5, on the same, some of the same projects, we're just going to submit for inclusion in the minutes several easements that you previously authorized the acceptance of in substantial form. We went out and got those executed and filed, so we can submit those for inclusion in the minutes. So item 5, the first one I'm going to submit for inclusion in the minutes is the fully executed copy of the perpetual right-of-way easement for public road from Harlan L. Davis Jr. to Lauderdale County. You got the filing information there that's relative to ARPA Lizea Road. Item 6, submitting for inclusion in the minutes the fully executed perpetual right-of-way easement for public road from Otis to Howells to Lauderdale County. So the filing information, and that's relative to ARPA Lizea Road. This is a comment to now we have secured all of the necessary right-of-way to do the 2 bridges on Lizea. Next, item 7, we're submitting conclusion of the minutes, the fully executed professional right-of-way easement for public road from Ben T. Avera to Lauderdale County. That's some filing information. That's relative to ERPR Dale Drive. 8, submitting conclusion of minutes, the fully executed professional right-of-way easement for public road from the Hamasa Temple Building Association to Lauderdale County. Filing information that's relative to ERPR Dale Drive. Also, with the approvals this morning and the submission of these into the minutes, we'll go ahead and certify we've got title to all the necessary property to proceed with the Dale Drive bridge replacement. Move to item 9. This is an Avalon tax exemption. Asking you to consider. This will be a final resolution granting an exemption from Avalon taxes in favor of CF Rail Services, Inc. That's relative to PPIN 16508 and 55710. Begins January 1, 2022. Period of 10 years for a total true value of $12,509,336.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
All right, the items 10 through 15 were not on the agenda on Thursday at the work session, but this is the orders that Richmond Alexander made the presentation about three road projects under the SABP program and then 3 LSBP projects. So, first, item 10, ask consider motion to approve an order of the Board of Supervisors of Lauderdale County setting forth the proposed state aid projects for the period January 1, 2020 through December 31, 2023 relative to SABP 3801 Sand Flat Road and authorize the board president to execute the same.
So moved. Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
All right, to shorten this, the title of those orders is all the same, just the only thing that changes is the roads. So, item 11, I'm going to ask you to make the same motion. It's relative to SABP 3802 Valley Road and authorize the board president to execute the same.
So moved. Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
The same thing on number 12, ask you to make the same motion. This is relative to SABP 3803 Old 8th Street Road to authorize the board president to execute the same.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Item 13 is it's the so this is a different style order. So ask consider motion to approve an order of the Board of Supervisors of Lauderdale County setting forth proposed local system bridge replacement and rehabilitation projects for the period January 1, 2020 to December 31, 2023 relative to LSBP 3840 Richard Johnson Road and authorize the board president to execute the same.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Mr. President, now ask you to consider, it's the same worded motion that is relative to LSBP 3841 Snowden Road and authorize the board president to execute the same.
So moved.
Second. Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
And item 15, consider the same style motion that's relative to LSBP 3842 Old Highway 39 and authorize the board president to execute the same.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
All right, Mr. President, such a question that completes the legal agenda, I will ask you to consider the need for executive session.
Okay. All right. That will take us to number 11, other matters for general good and welfare. That's where we open the podium up for 5 minutes to our constituents to address the board for any concerns they may have, and we'll do that at this time. Is there anyone at the audience that would like to address the board? Yes, sir. If you'll just come to the podium, and we just need you to, like the gentleman before you just a few minutes ago, need you to state your name and address, and you'll have 5 minutes. Yes, sir.
My name is Eldon Richardson. I live at 5981 B.W. Johnson Road in Meridian. And my question to your board is, how is the proper procedure in talking to one of you supervisors when we got a problem?
Well,
I have called Mr. Rutledge probably 30 times. He has not returned my call, not sending anybody out. And we got a problem on B.W. Johnson Road they're fixing the house, and I can't get no one to come out to look at it or even talk to me about it.
Well, sir, what we can do this morning, that gentleman right there is our road manager, Rush Mayat, and he can talk to you right now and get an address, and I'm sorry that
I was under the impression that when we called and talked to a voicemail, that one of you people, especially Mr. Rutledge there, was supposed to return my call or something, but he had, for the last month, I've been trying to get in touch with him. And he appeared to be ignoring me.
and you haven't talked to anybody in the road department?
Nobody.
Well, we can remedy that today. So we'll get you a Mr. Mayat right here this morning.
Another thing, I got one other concern on the traffic light on 19 South in front of Southeast School.
Yes, sir,
Before they knocked the telephone pole down, whoever did that, it was working great. But I sat there last night, or 2 nights ago, at night, no traffic, with the red light on 19 side, sat there for over 3 minutes before it turned.
Yes, sir, and Mr. Mayat can give you who that's responsible. That's gonna be a state problem, and I hate to, try to buck up the issue there.
No, I mean, I didn't understand
yeah.
that, but I thought it was part of Lauderdale County.
Yeah, that's state highway, so that'd be a state issue to be addressed, but we can get you in contact with the right people there as well.
Then my question, that brings up another question of why was the Lauderdale County trucks there working on the pole, and looked like there was a guy in there adjusting the light when they put it back up. There was Lauderdale County trucks there. I go by there all the time.
Well, sir, if you ever seen anything like that, snap a picture of something like that.
I will.
All right.
Anyway, I thank you for your time.
I see your hat. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else in the audience like to address the board at this time? Good morning, ma'am. Just need you to state your name and address.
Brenda Steiner, 9649 McGuffin Road.
Good morning, Miss Brenda.
I was in about some dirt, and we had missed each other, and you had came to the wrong, well, the knock on the door, I was at the other place.
I think we came to the right spot you were talking
Right.
about, just that we didn't make contact with you at the other house.
Right.
Okay. Go ahead, Ms.
So
Steiner.
it was that I had shown pictures of a vacant property that I'm trying to get rid of for my granddaughter. But there's a trench right in front of it, right in front of the porch light. And I know you saw where it's gonna give. And I was asking about some dirt.
So the board charged me and Mr. Rutledge with going out and looking at that. The problem, Ms. Steiner, is that's on private property. And as state law prohibits us from being able to donate, to private property. Now, anything on the right of way, we can assist, we have grounds to assist, but our report back to the board is that it's definitely on private property.
Okay, but there's a road, that's not my driveway, to the Reed property.
So, Mr. Rutledge, are you making, I'm not
Just
quite sure I
with
understand.
what we looked at, right there at the porch, you got the cross pipe that goes under part of the trailer. It needs a lot of drainage work right through there. It's low, but it's just what we looked at. You really need more than just dirt, because that water is just gonna keep that pipe. You got 2 different pipes connected together, and that's what's caused the problem.
Yeah, that's coming down from that channel that I had mentioned before, but
it's still on private property, but you needs something more than the drainage needs to be fixed, or you're gonna lose that. But that's not on the county, based off what we looked at.
so even though like if my place is here and there's a road that goes straight by me, that's still considered private property?
What I looked at, me and Mr. Wells, it was a
it's
drive,
grown up. The house is there.
but it was that looked like a driveway, really
This
for
is
what.
This is the map thing from upstairs
Uh-huh.
for the Reeds I'm 9, she's 10. This is the road that separates where their house is right up, cause that's the Reed's property back there. And this there right away to the road, they're just by me. And then if it was about, dirt on private property, I've shown the picture, I got the same picture, where there was dirt delivered on Hardaway's property on the side of the highway by the county. And out of vacant residence, he was getting ready to rent that the county delivered, dropped the dirt off on his private property.
Have you got pictures?
I got the pictures again, I dropped them off once before. And
Just in the right of way? Okay.
This is up his yard. And this is sitting way out there under a tree that the county took. That's the same dirt I asked for when they was cleaning the ditches up our road.
So this was waste dirt?
Yeah, but it's dirt on private property.
Here, I'll pass this.
Yeah, that was at 2 different residences. One vacant, he's getting ready, and his own, same thing I'm asking for.
So, Ms. Steiner, I understand what you're saying, and looking at that, we need to, like, really dig into that. But if that is waste dirt, there is a stipulation that we can donate waste dirt. But I'm just telling you, from what me and Mr. Rutledge looked at, I don't think you want dirt. I think you have other issues like Mr. Rutledge is trying to explain to you. I think if you wanted us to give you waste dirt, and how that happens is when we're out in that area, and we're nearby, like we just spooned out a ditch, we can dump that right there.
What is that, is the waste dirt the same as mud dirt?
Yes.
Because Mr. Norwood say you don't deliver mud dirt the last time I was here.
Well,
Like
so-
the red type top, you know, like packing
I was
for
just
roads.
asking before which you could see,
Yeah.
that deck is getting ready to cave.
Yeah, it's
I'll
something
take
needs to
care
be
of
done.
the rest if I could just get the dirt.
Something that definitely needs to be done.
Right, if I could just get the dirt for my start, I got the start.
So, gentlemen,
So
would you
part
agree
of-
with me?
Part-
Yeah, go ahead.
Part of what the problem is that one, they can't if they're nearby and there's waste dirt, okay, then they could provide that to a resident. But if it's not, then the county can't just find dirt to give to you to improve your private property. Understand that there's a problem with the porch, but ultimately it's the landowner's responsibility to take care of their property.
Well, we
So-
can pay taxes for it. And
I-
how
I-
much
I-
is
I
the
get
dirt
that.
a load? I'll pay for the dirt.
Just like everybody else. Everyone, you know,
What, how much is the dirt a load? Can I pay you for the dirt?
you can buy dirt out on the market, ma'am.
Mr. Matt give you numerous numbers, somebody to haul. Yeah, the county
That's
can,
what I'm saying.
you know, it'd have to
He
be a
knows
private.
vendors that can.
Well, what you pay taxes for?
For the road, the right of way, that's what covers that. We can't cover private property, because we do improvement on private property. Shad White will come to us, and we will turn around and have to repay it if we improve something.
And anything on Highway 11 is state anyway.
Anything on Highway 11?
It's state highway.
So you wouldn't have anything to do with going on private property, dumping?
I don't know what you mean by going.
Well, you
private
saw the
property.
picture.
Most people have their own equipment down there. You showed me that picture. I was down there, passed through there Saturday. I didn't see any of that. I don't know. when
That
happened.
was when they dug the ditches in September of last year.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
Yeah.
straight, yeah.
But that was just the fact that you say you don't go on private property. And that is two private.
We have no authority to go on private property. I think they just explained to you. That's why I asked the board if they would go down there and try to help work this problem out with you. You have asking us to do something that we have no authority to do. In other words, it's illegal for me to bring you a load of dirt. If they're cleaning out the ditch down there, they can go dump that dirt wherever they can go dump it at the closest place.
What Mr. Norwood said, you don't need waste dirt. You need something to pack in, because that stuff's just gonna wash out. That type of dirt, like in that picture, that's like topsoil, and just to fill in a hole, but something to pack in to hold, that's not gonna work at all.
Ms. Tyner, I'm sorry we can't help.
I was looking for it, it's okay. I appreciate it.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there anyone else at this time that would like to address the board? All right. I'll give one more opportunity. Anyone want to address the board? All right, seeing no movement, we'll move to actions from supervisors. Mr. Newell, good morning.
Thank you, Mr. President. Two thank yous this morning. First off, we accepted Dee Dee's resignation from tourism. I certainly want to thank her for her service for, I don't know how many years, Chris, I don't forgot how many she said, but I think she's done not a good job. I think she's done an excellent job myself personally, and certainly want to thank her for her hard work. Second thing is I'd like to personally thank Ms. Luke Jones for her youth persistent in bringing facts to life about Miss Polly. A lot of people don't know the history and so forth, and she has tried to enlighten the community, and I think she has done an excellent job. So I certainly want to thank Ms. Jones for her knowledge and her things she brings to the board about history. Thank you, Mr. President.
You bet. Mr. Todd?
One thing I had, it was on the bridges that we just did under Mr. Thaggart's deal. You know, a lot of people that see that and say, what's their famous saying they go to right now? It must be election year.
Yeah.
How long, we've been working on this for years? Some of these bridges, 4 years, 5
10 years for
10
Dale
years.
Drive.
It's more than that for Collinsville. It takes a long time to get to where those little words that you see on a piece of paper right there. It's taking a while. It doesn't happen overnight. And this is actually being preventive instead of waiting until it does get shut down. As you did on Pine Springs Road. We've been working on that for 8 months now. It takes a long time. Whenever you're dealing with a state or federal government, you have to go by a whole bunch of guidelines and jump through a bunch of hoops that we normally wouldn't probably do. But it's money that we can have allocated or set aside out of our county budget. It's money that we can use that the state and federal government gives us. So it takes a while. This has taken a long time. I hate for people to see that kind of stuff and say, oh, it's election year, we're paving roads. No, I could care less about paving one single road during election year because I want them done the year or two before. I want you to vote before election, not during election. So we really try to do this stuff way before election year, but this is just being preventive for our roads and bridges. And with that, my daughter graduates today. I cannot believe I get to say that. She'll be turning, well, she graduates today, will be turning 18 this Friday. So a lot of emotions. I didn't think this time would ever come. I did, you know, as they're coming up, they do get, you know, we have 3 kids, 2 girls and a boy. It does get hectic sometimes, and you're like, man, when does this ever stop? When do they stop crying? When do they, you know, when can they go to the bathroom by themselves? When they can eat by themselves? The next thing you know, you have, you know, older people tell you, you blink and it's gone. And by God, that's the truth. I mean,
Smart, what you're saying.
yes. Listen to the ones with gray hair and no hair, because they have a lot of knowledge, and it did. It literally flew by. Seems like.
When they go up to school, they'll be home.
Oh, they're not. Yeah, no. Hey, I still have all the money. I'll work 5 jobs if I have to provide for them.
Just
So
keep a good debit card on hand.
they'll
be all right.
It's coming. It's coming. They have it.
We got something better to look forward to, grandchildren.
And yes, I can't wait. I can't wait, but I can't wait.
Wait till the boy started calling that old beautiful girl.
Well, he's already got one of those. But for her, she's really, and I have to give my wife all the credit. She has a very, very good head on her shoulders. She's very smart. She's got a backbone to her. So I really, and she has been talking about maybe with her boyfriend going where his dad lives, and that's Tampa, Florida. You know, it hurts that she may be moving off, but again, I'm at peace because this girl's got, this young woman has a head on her shoulders. She's not gonna let anybody get over. So you feel nervous but peaceful at the same time. But she is going to stay here for 2 years. She's going to MTC, and that does leave me. And she was accepted in the Ivy League. So her grades were good enough. Her interview was good enough that they chose her to be a part of the Ivy League for the school to promote the school. So I'm proud of that, and I think she may actually go into since MSU did the psychiatrist or psychology master's at Mississippi State. I think that's what she may be going into. So to that, I have her for at least 4 more years, hopefully. And then after that, I hope she does spread her wings. I want her to be successful and come back to Lauderdale County and pay taxes as I have. And looking forward to that. So she does graduate. She turns 18 on Friday. So she's got a pretty big week ahead of her and starts tonight.
Congratulations. Did you say MCC or?
Yes, she's going to go to MCC. She's been doing dual enrollment now for 2 years. Has a great really high GPA. So she's really been doing good. She's going to be successful. So it's heartbreaking, but it's exciting at the same time because it's the spice of life. It's coming no matter if we want it or not. But I'm just proud and glad that she has a good head on her shoulders and her mama's done right.
She's a good girl.
I'm
glad she took after her.
Thank God, thank the Lord. And I will agree with that.
I was going to beat these other guys.
I beat you to it because Leah gets all the credit in the world because she, that's Daddy's girls. They can do what they want to. Now my boy, we just to come to Jesus, baby. But now my girls do no wrong. But it switches for the mama. Mama's been hard on it, so it's good. It's taught her life lessons.
Hey, forgive just our conversation.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So, you know what they say about boys when they're born? They're born with their brains in their bottom. You got to pick them up with their head.
That's true.
That's what happened. Some folks never got their beating.
But thank you. That's all I have. Thank you.
Mr. Norwood? Jonathan lost a brother last year too. In the adult world and the professional world.
It's exciting.
It's exciting. You miss them about the first 3 weeks when they go. You realize now I got milk in the refrigerator and power bill goes down and water. But you guys are right. They'll come home. His mother said, when you was young, you stayed on mine. Mine, now that you're older, you eat me up at the heart. So they always worry about you.
I agree.
We're doing a good job. I'm just glad that
Thank you. Yes, thank the Lord.
I see we have 2 city councils in order in the state. We thank y'all for being here and let y'all have some of y'all need to say that. Other than that, that's about it. Congratulations.
I have to say this. We always do it. Harry Mayer's Rudy's best dressed man. I think Norwood's giving him one for the money.
Hey, he's a sharp.
I'm telling you.
See him out in public.
I'm telling you, he's smelling good, looking good. I'm telling you. I think he's working on Harry Mayer's doorsteps about the Rudy's best dressed man.
His closet ain't nothing.
Mr. Rudd? Me and Jody was having that exact conversation. The girls had a dance recital at the Temple Theater. That morning we took PK to McGee to play baseball, so we were spread thin that day. But just, that's what she said. People say this is the best times, but as you run around with just stretch
Slow
thin.
down long enough to.
But I was thinking about your daughter graduating. PK came and did a tour of the middle school, so it'll be middle school next year. Just time just gets by so fast, we take a lot of that for granted. Just slow down and listen. But fun time.
Busy but fun.
Just
One other thing, TK mentioned that he knocked his first home run out of the park, and he deserves a lot of credit. And the tournament up at Louisville,
We're supposed to wrapping up the city Phil Hardin lead tonight. His team's in the semi-championship, so it's 4 teams left. So they should crown a season winner tonight. So.
Does anybody work with PK? Anybody work with
Yeah, I've had a few folks work with me. All right.
Just a mention. Do that, Mr. Wayman. Go ahead. You got it on your tongue and on your mind.
Yeah, it left me there for a minute, but the gentleman with the Vietnam hat on, Memorial Day is coming up. There'll be a program across the street. Certainly encourage everyone to attend. Them guys and their families gave up everything for us to be where we are today. Thank you.
One more.
Yep.
Before we play. If you you did not make it to the Jimmy Rogers Festival this weekend, it was good. I was surprised. One, surprised at the amount of talent that Meridian has, and just here locally, and then the amount of talent that they brought in. It was really good. Kingfish, that's somebody to watch. I mean, I really enjoyed him. I enjoyed I can't remember the other guy's name. That was Friday, but Saturday, it was shocking that we didn't have no more people come. I mean, it was a good lineup. The weather, I think, scared a lot of people, but the prices was not outrageous. It was a really good time. It was a good time to be downtown. So hats off and pat on the back to those, to Miss Leslie and them at the Jimmy Rogers Foundation. It was good. It was a really good time.
John Tavius Willis was the
John Tavius
for the
Willis,
blues
that's it.
band.
I could not remember.
He's awesome.
I could not remember.
We had a couple youth from our church do the singer-songwriter thing. Forgot what night that was, but they proud of those young people. Man, I want to mention our local favorite, Daniel House. I mean, he's awesome. So,
And Locke Thornton. Locke
Yeah.
Thornton is somebody I mean, we got a right smart amount of talent right here. It's going to be amazing to watch them.
well, good deal. Well, we might as well mention Holly. Holly
Oh,
from
yeah,
the Voice,
yeah.
and she's doing
Holly,
good.
yeah,
So,
Holly.
Holly Graham. All right. Really don't have anything. Just to piggyback on what you said about the bridge work, Rush, you and Richmond. Thank you guys and you too, sir, for all just that aspect that you guys get done on that. That we can get up there, like Josh said, and read this stuff into our minutes and pass the work finally getting done. So, just to keep touching on that, it's hard for our people to understand. I want to revisit this from time to time because we've got to educate our people about how this works. When the state comes in, it's going to take some time because we're starting from scratch. We're surprised about a bridge being shut down. So it hits us out of nowhere, and we go to work on design, getting these right-of-ways done, getting all this stuff prepared, and back and forth between the state and design, contracting, bids, getting them in. I mean, it just takes months before you even put a shovel in the ground. And then it takes months to get the work done. Getting out in front of this stuff allows us to get these right-of-way acquisitions. It gets all the law stuff out of the way, the building prep, the plans. And then when you go in and put a shovel in the ground, that's when the people, hey, that bridge is shut down, the work's started. It's a different story when we're out in front of it and we can get these things done. So the more our people understand how this works, they're always going to be upset that a bridge is closed, whether it be a day or a year. But we're progressively going after these things. So again, to the guys, thank y'all for getting that stuff done.
And Mr. Mayor, just a quick comment on that subject. So the last 5 items in the legal agenda that Richmond presented on Thursday, that's all planning for the next term. So you're talking about future planning for under the SAPP and the LSPP program. So it's start that work to so that the next board will be in a position to make those repairs.
And, I think I made the comment Thursday, there's no way we could tackle all these bridges at the same time anyways. There's not enough contractors, not enough, it doesn't work that way. But we're progressively working at it. So we just ask for your patience and understanding and try to understand how this works. So, all right, guys, I don't think I'm missing anything. Let's adjourn.
Consider
Consider the need for executive session. Mr. Norwood's made a motion. If you'll excuse us, please.